Pandemics affect everyone, regardless of gender, class, or creed. But as we all continue to assess the impact of COVID-19, we see that the burden falls heavier on women's shoulders. Women are serving in the front line as health workers, essential service providers, business continuity support staff, and they're all so vulnerable because they make up a disproportionate part of the informal, contractual, non-regular workforce that probably won't get paid under a lockdown situation.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this conference call. So I'll share to you SEDPI Microfinance. So SEDPI is a group of social enterprises that provides capacity building and social investments to development organizations and directly to micro-enterprises. So today, I will share to you the community assessment we conducted first when the community quarantine started on March 14, and an updated community assessment we recently concluded yesterday or 2 weeks after. We serve 6,600 micro-enterprises in Agusan del Sur and Surigao del Sur, two of the poorest provinces in the Philippines. Most of our members, about 9 in 10, are women with an average age of 42. These women are typically into vending, farming, fishing, and dressmaking, selling, racing. We asked our members if they had to stop their business if their business weakened, and if they or their family experienced symptoms of COVID-19. Those who haven't spoken with in person or over the phone are marked not reached. The table shows the results of our survey. So let me see how I can show you out my table. Do you see it now? Hello?
We only see your first slide, which shows about the numbers of your micro-enterprises served.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, here. So this is, how about this one now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah, okay. So we asked our members if they had to stop their business, if their business weakened, and if they or their family experienced symptoms of COVID-19. Those who we haven't spoken with in the person or over the phone are marked as not reached. So this is the table. So as you can see, with families having to stay home, 4 out of 10 micro-enterprise stopped operating their business because of COVID-19. Another 4 out of every 10 experienced a decline in their business. About 2 out of every 10 members we were unable to speak to because they lived in a remote area or with no cell phone signal. Many livelihoods were affected due to the following. They are unable to buy supplies to keep their business going. Traveling is difficult because there are barangays that don't let non-residents enter, and others can't go to work because the areas where they work are locked down. There are few to no buyers of goods and services because schools and business operations are closed. There are few to no public transport vehicles. They also experience delay in their spouses' salaries. What we've also seen as of yesterday is that most of our self-employed and income earners in the households have not been able to get or receive assistance from the government and have no food due to loss of source of income. So, but the good news is, in the community assessment, was that none of the SEDPI members reported symptoms of COVID-19. As it stands, there's an urgent need for decisive action in the form of quarantine measures to prevent the sudden rise of COVID-19 cases. But it's important to take into account the well-being of most low-income groups. It's imperative to provide them support. The sudden implementation of quarantine is difficult for micro-enterprises because many of them earn only enough to meet their daily needs and are living on a hand-to-mouth existence. So what happens now? First, It is important that emergency relief is distributed to families and make sure that there's enough food on the table. Microfinance institutions, such as us, can do this effectively and almost instantly, as we have shown during the Yolanda typhoon. Our clients also keep on asking us what happens to their loans. We've started our moratorium of loan collections. We're also taking this opportunity to shift from conventional microfinance to what we call social microfinance, where we will transform all loans we extended as capital to our members and treat them as true business partners rather than maintain a creditor-debtor relationship. This strategy is very similar to Islamic finance, and we're trying to adapt more inclusive financing strategies to our members. We would also like for government and development organizations to use microfinance institutions as conduits for unconditional cash transfers, as well as for information dissemination. What happens after the community quarantine? Government and development organizations should provide pay-for-work programs to spur local economic development. It would also be good to lobby with SSS and Pag-IBIG to make their calamity loans 0%, since these are drawn from the person's contributions anyway. It is also important to focus more on financial inclusion to make sure that bank accounts are open for all low-income families so that they can easily access cash transfers and cash relief. This will reduce corruption, red tape, and ensures that funds truly land in the pockets of the vulnerable. In relation to this, we are also wanting the government to have even more basic process is streamlined for low-income groups to get government identification documents, such as birth certificates, marriage certificates, and licenses. Access to basic services starts with identity. This is what we experience on a day-to-day basis with our micro-enterprise clients. It is also high time, I think, to have a universal disaster insurance, since the Philippines ranks high in the World Risk Index. This will make us better prepared for disasters and any other pandemics that may come in the future. We believe that channeling resources to help micro-enterprises, especially women micro-entrepreneurs, will keep our nation strong enough to recover faster from the negative effects of this pandemic. So these are what we've done so far in our organization and what we plan to do after the quarantine is lifted with this pandemic. Thank you.
Could you talk a bit more about the economic shifts that you are really seeing that we need to prepare for post-COVID-19 emergency? Vince, I see you. Do you want to answer the question?
I think for me, the major shift that we're doing is really to veer away from loans as a strategy for development, because we think that loans is oppressive and it doesn't really put the primary stakeholders into a level playing field as partners in development. So that's what we're doing. Instead of looking at them as debtor and we're the creditor, where we put all the terms and conditions of the loans for them, and what we're trying to do is to really involve them and engage them in the development of our financial products, such that we can respond better and more effectively to their needs. So that's actually already a very, very big shift from the traditional mindset that we have, because even development organizations have that main strategy of access to credit as a means for development. But we think that this could be done through more capital infusion and more collaboration and partnership. So we share in the risks and profits of the micro-enterprise ventures, rather than just shielding ourselves from the risks as an institution and having the micro-enterprises, the farmers, absorb all the risks.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, Len, can I say something?
Yes, Chief, please. Go ahead.
Mine is really very, very basic. Like a lot of Vince's clients in the microfinance, some are urban, but a lot of them are in the rural areas. And it's really about keeping people in a local setting first, because it's the new way which is actually the old way, where people stayed in their communities and grew their own food and bartered kamote for gulay. You know, it sounded so wow, like slow food, etc. before, but now that's reality. I mean, even among family members, we're swapping vegetables for meat or something, and you have to let it all settle. I mean, the dust will settle, but it's going to take a long time. This is the only time I will sound negative today. But before the dust settles, it's going to be a lot of insecurity, a lot of, and like for connected women, how can you connect them to business now when the businesses themselves will be will be in dire straits? So this is why I'm suggesting for us to like look at locavorism, like trying to keep that economy as local as possible first. It's like quarantine, except there's food, you know? So I don't know how you guys will take that, but it's really what we've been espousing all this time. Like I just woke up the other day and said, oh my God, all my advocacies are actually happening now. We're bartering, we're growing our own food. So maybe, you know, someone up there is making us realize that. So responsible consumption and production, that's also in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and being responsible consumers and producers. I mean, we can't keep overproducing carrots and throwing them away. We have to also inspire our farmers to grow only what they can sell or what they can use. I'll stop there for now.
Our second panel really has presented a lot of different options and opportunities we could look forward to, but at the same time prepare, as we are right now on lockdown. And I appreciate really the important role of the different bridges so that these could really be accessed and this could be linked to women at the communities who does not have access to infrastructure, to proper internet connection, to financing or loans, which is now really a very welcome development in terms of how we can shift and move this forward to a more inclusive financing, which we hope really we could dwell more upon in the future conversations.